The 7 o'clock spot is supposed to be informational, and supposed to be educational and so forth, and shows which produce some kind of knowledge to people. And you can do that in a very dramatic way.
Everyone saw Lorne Greene as the rock of Bonanza, calm, loyal, and impossible to hate. But behind that calm voice and steady smile, Greene carried a grudge so deep he couldn't even stand the sight of one man. Imagine that. The man who kept the Ponderosa alive for years secretly had someone he never wanted to see again. Who could possibly push a legend like Lorne to his breaking point in the heart of Hollywood? The truth is wilder than you think, and when you find out who it was, you won't believe it. Number 1 on that secret hate list, none other than John Wayne, the Duke himself, the most legendary cowboy to ever grace the silver screen. People were stunned when they found out Wayne was the man Greene couldn't forgive, and it wasn't some bar fight or Hollywood gossip that caused it. It was one brutal line dropped right when it hurt the most. It all went down in April 1966 inside the glamorous Beverly Hills Hotel. The press swarmed the place, cameras flashing, everyone trying to get a piece of the biggest stars in the game. John Wayne stood there commanding attention like a general in charge, towering over the crowd. Then a reporter asked if TV westerns were ruining the real western genre. Wayne leaned into the mic, smirked, lifted an eyebrow, and threw out one sharp sentence that would sting Lorne Greene for years to come.
You say, what are you doing in the Ponderosa? He doesn't know where he is. It's 1,000 square miles. He said, why don't we say, listen, where are you from, St. Louis? Great. How about staying with us for a week?
If you want the West without blood or guts, watch Bonanza. Wayne's voice boomed, and the room burst into laughter. Cameras flashed, reporters hollered, and one photographer shouted, "That's going on page 1 by evening." And sure enough, it did. The next morning, Lorne Greene walked up to his dressing room at Paramount and saw a stack of newspapers waiting for him, all printed with Wayne's jab right there in bold letters. A crew member later said Greene didn't yell or curse. He just stood still, staring at those words like they'd cut him deep. Weeks later, the wound reopened in Beverly Hills at a fancy charity banquet packed with donors, producers, and Hollywood big shots. John Wayne strutted up behind him and smacked Greene on the back so hard it echoed across the room. Then he laughed, saying, "TV cowboys have it easy, pal. Try real dust sometime." The crowd howled again, but Greene just forced a polite smile while his eyes gave away the truth. He was hurt, and everyone close to him could see it. It didn't take long for the fallout to hit. Radio hosts started mocking Bonanza, calling it soft compared to Wayne's movies. Columnists printed cruel comparisons, Wayne as the West, Greene as the commercial version. Even NBC pushed Greene into interviews to clean up his image, but that only made things worse and left him feeling humiliated. Wayne never apologized, never explained, and never admitted the damage he caused. After that, their friendship was done for good. Greene later admitted in private, "He made me feel like a guest in my own genre, and that wound never really healed." Number 3, Clint Eastwood, the second man Greene quietly despised and the one who sparked a silent war that fans never saw coming. The story behind it starts with one unseen moment that changed everything. Clint Eastwood threw shade at Lorne Greene without even breaking a sweat, right when Greene was still carrying the whole spirit of Bonanza on his back. It all kicked off in late 1971 during a packed press conference for Dirty Harry. Reporters crammed into the room, shouting questions, flashes popping nonstop. Then one reporter brought up the old moral cowboys on TV, and everyone instantly knew who they were hinting at, Ben Cartwright himself. Eastwood didn't dodge the topic, not for a second. He leaned forward, gave that signature half smile, and delivered one sharp line that sliced right through Greene's clean-cut image. Real cowboys don't preach, they survive. The whole room went silent for a second before the buzz started. When Greene read that quote later, he closed the magazine slowly, too slowly, like every word stung deeper than the last. That was the moment his quiet resentment toward Eastwood began. Eastwood hadn't just insulted a character, he'd taken a swing at everything Greene stood for, the old-school, honor-bound vision of the West. And the real gut punch came a few months later at a Universal backlot party on a warm Los Angeles night. Studio execs were mingling, laughing, glasses clinking. Then someone asked Eastwood what he thought about the Cartwrights. Eastwood shrugged, gave that cool, dismissive smirk, and said, "They're the polite West. I'm not." It wasn't loud, but it hit like a slap. Greene's face dropped just enough for people to notice. Within weeks, magazines were calling Eastwood the new frontier, while labeling Greene the sunset. Directors even started saying audiences didn't want moral heroes anymore. They wanted rebels, loners, the rough edge of the West. And for Lorne Greene, that shift cut deeper than any headline ever could. The audience wanted Clint Eastwood's cold grit, the raw, unfiltered kind of cowboy who didn't care about right or wrong, just survival. Lorne Greene could see it happening right in front of him, young fans drifting toward that tougher image of the West. It wasn't about disrespect, it was about change. But that change pushed Greene further from the spotlight, further from the center of the very world he helped build. He never called Eastwood out, he never fired back publicly. But behind closed doors, Greene told the truth that everyone close to him had already guessed. "He didn't attack me," he admitted quietly. "He replaced the world I belonged to." And that wound never really healed. Number 3, Michael Landon, the name that split the Ponderosa in two and cut deeper than any Hollywood feud. Out of everyone on Greene's hidden list, this one hurt the most. Michael wasn't just a co-star, he was the son who grew into his sharpest rival. Their quiet tension exploded the moment Landon decided the show didn't need Greene at the center anymore. It all started in late 1966. Greene was keeping the Bonanza production tight and professional, running it like a well-oiled machine. But while he held the fort, Landon started making his own moves, writing scripts in secret and slipping them straight to NBC, skipping the usual chain of command. Then one day, the network greenlit one of his episodes. Landon marched onto the set with the approval letter in hand, waving it like a trophy. He smirked and tapped the paper, saying, "Looks like they're ready for something new." The room went still, and that single moment cracked the harmony of the Ponderosa forever. Lorne Greene froze just for a half second, but it was enough to catch what Michael Landon was really saying. Landon wasn't just celebrating a script approval, he was staking his claim for creative control. From that moment, the energy on set shifted fast. Landon started writing more episodes, pushing for deeper, more emotional plots focused on younger characters. Slowly but surely, Bonanza began to change into something that no longer reflected Greene's original vision of the Ponderosa.
Greene sat back and watched scene after scene move away from Ben Cartwright. The camera, once centered on him, began to follow Landon instead. NBC executives praised every shift, calling the show fresh and modern, while Greene quietly realized he was losing the home he'd helped build. The real breaking point came in 1972 during the script meeting for Forever. Greene flipped through the pages carefully, his face hardening as it hit him. His once powerful character had been reduced to little more than a background figure. Across the table, Landon sat calm and confident, looking him straight in the eye before saying, "The audience wants a new direction." Greene didn't fight back. He didn't raise his voice. He just placed the script on the table, stood up slowly, and walked out without another word. A producer later said the silence that followed could have cracked glass. From that day on, the Bonanza set was split down the middle, those who followed Landon's creative momentum and those who still believed Greene was the show's true heart. Magazines soon crowned Landon as the new architect of Bonanza, a title that quietly shoved Greene into the shadows. He never confronted Landon in public, but behind closed doors, he whispered one of the most heartbreaking lines of his career. "He didn't take anything from me on purpose, but somehow he took everything." That was how Lorne Greene described the heartbreak Michael Landon left behind. It wasn't hate, it was loss, and that pain ran deeper than any Hollywood rivalry ever could. Number 4. Pernell Roberts, the co-star who turned the Bonanza set into a full-blown battleground. Sitting in the 4th spot on Greene's private list, Roberts was the only actor who challenged him openly and without fear. From day one, Pernell Roberts didn't see Bonanza as a cozy family drama. He saw it as a debate floor, and Greene was the man right at the center of his fire. Their feud sparked during a tense script meeting in the early 1960s. While the rest of the cast tried to keep things peaceful, Roberts leaned back in his chair, lifted his script, and announced loud enough for the entire production team to hear, "These stories are too clean. Ben Cartwright isn't a father, he's a fantasy." Every head in the room turned toward Greene. He didn't say a word, but his stiff posture said everything. Roberts didn't stop there. He tore into the writing, the tone, and especially Greene's portrayal of Ben. Then, one heated afternoon in 1963, the tension exploded. Roberts slammed his script down on the table and shouted, "Adam can't grow because Ben won't let him." Greene locked eyes with him and calmly replied, "Adam chooses family. That's not weakness." Roberts just shook his head, stood up, and stormed out, leaving the whole writing team frozen in stunned silence. The drama didn't end there. It spilled far beyond the script room. Roberts began skipping promo shoots, turning down charity events, and constantly leaving Greene alone to face the press and defend the show's unity. Behind the cameras, the father-son bond fans adored on screen had turned into one of the most tense rivalries in Bonanza history. NBC executives were desperate to keep the peace. They begged Lorne Greene to step in and play the role of mediator, the calm voice between clashing egos, but it was a role he never wanted. Still, he tried to hold the Bonanza family together until one moment in 1965 shattered everything. That year, Pernell Roberts gave a brutally honest interview to the San Francisco Chronicle, and his quote spread across Hollywood like wildfire. "I don't believe in Ben Cartwright. He's not real. He's too perfect to respect." That line hit Greene like a punch to the chest. To him, this wasn't just a critique of the script. It was a direct attack on the very character he had spent years building with heart, discipline, and pride. From that day on, Greene never forgave Roberts, and the wound between them never truly healed. Number 5. Guy Williams, the final name on Greene's hidden list, and the one who tested his patience like no one else. Just because Williams landed in the last spot doesn't mean his story was any less explosive. In fact, he was the only man who pushed Lorne Greene so far that the famously composed patriarch of Bonanza actually walked off his own set. Not from ego, not from rage, but from pure disbelief at how completely Williams tore apart the order Greene had protected for years. The chaos kicked off the moment Guy Williams showed up for his guest role in late 1967. Most actors arrived at the studio quietly, blending in with the crew, but not Williams. He made a full Hollywood entrance, rolling up in a flashy convertible, surrounded by photographers he'd clearly called himself. Crew members traded glances and whispered, "He thinks he's filming Zorro again." And right then, Greene knew this wasn't going to be just another day on set. Greene watched from across the set, his jaw tightening with each flash of a camera. Guy Williams had just broken the unspoken law of the Ponderosa, respect the work, not the spotlight, and from that moment on, the tension between them only grew. Then came the endless retakes. Williams demanded take after take, not to perfect his acting, but to perfect his image. He kept changing the lighting, the angles, even asking Greene to shift his position so he wouldn't block Williams' best side. The crew exchanged uneasy glances, but no one dared to speak. During one key scene, Williams suddenly called out, "We'll redo it. My character leads this moment, not Ben Cartwright." The room froze. Greene didn't say a word, but his stare, cold, steady, unblinking, was enough to make the entire set fall silent. The breaking point came just a few days later. It was supposed to be a quick two-line exchange, nothing major, but right in the middle, Williams stopped everything and said, "Stop, this doesn't showcase me properly." That was it. Greene slowly turned his head, locked eyes with him, set his hat down on the table, and walked straight off the set without another word. A producer later said the silence that followed could have cracked glass. From that day on, the Bonanza set was split down the middle, those who followed Williams' creative momentum and those who still believed Greene was the show's true heart. Later, in private, Greene summed it up with one haunting line insiders never forgot. Some people don't break the rules, they break the room. And Williams had done exactly that. So, now that you know the truth behind the one man who pushed Lorne Greene further than anyone else, what do you think? Was his anger justified, or did Hollywood take the rivalry too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another shocking, untold story from Hollywood's golden age.